Hello and welcome to Informally Formal. I'm always excited to bring you amazing guests, and our today's guest, Ahmadul, is another exciting entrepreneur from Bangladesh. He was international IT head for BAT out of London before getting started in his entrepreneurial journey in Bangladesh. Done a lot of different things, but most notably amongst them is the fact that he is the founding president of BACCO, Bangladesh Association of Call Centers and Business Outsourcing. That he got started in 2009, I believe, and was president for 10 years. He happens to be the managing director of a large call center called Virgo. He has had other ventures in that area as well. He has interest in education. He has interest in biotechnology and what have you. But for today's interview, we will just concentrate on business process outsourcing, BPO. As you know, that we have a goal of taking our total space, that space, from $1 billion to $5 billion in 2025. So a very warm welcome to you, Ahmadul, more popularly, by the way, known as Bobby. So I've known him for years. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Thank you very much. It's my privilege to be invited to Informally Formal. I've been following your program and it's just been excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for coming to our show as well. As I mentioned today, we're going to be talking about the BPO, the business process outsourcing space in Bangladesh. So first, Bobby, paint a picture for us, just an overall picture in about a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, as to what this space is all about, and then I'll go into more specific questions. Right.
One of the interesting things when I started, people were saying, oh, you cannot succeed. Bangladeshi, they don't know how to speak English. I said, well, let's try it. But currently, our biggest problem is not English, but Bengali. We are having a huge problem about language. There is a huge demand in Bangladesh, especially from the government to citizen services. Like you see, some of our members have created 999, 333, and these classes. So similarly, we have banks who wants to outsource, we have government who wants to outsource, but we are not getting enough young people who has ability in the language. That's one of the areas.
Language ability. So you're having trouble finding people, even with the local language skills. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Most of them are academically fantastic. I wouldn't say, but problem we face is that they are not able to write, summarize a discussion. Their spelling, their grammar, typing is non-existence.
Right.
So English is a problem, but the Bangla is also critical.
All right, Bobby, I'm going to ask you, since you were the founding president of BACCO, tell me, how big is this space worldwide?
The worldwide is a $500 billion opportunity.
Wow, quite large, isn't it? Quite large. How big is it? What share of that 500 billion do you think India has?
India is doing about 20%. It's about $100 billion they're doing.
Wow, that large, huh?
Please.
What about Philippines? I know they're neck and neck with India in some respects.
Well, Philippines has recently taken over the voice component part of it. Okay, they are one of the highest growing. They have expanded very fast. I believe that they are in around $20 billion.
I thought they were much larger than that because they're number one in voice, number two in data. So in any event, how much is it in Bangladesh? What are we doing right now? You did mention about 300 million?
Yes, currently it's 300. We are hoping that it will move to about $1 billion very soon because of the higher value work that we are bringing into Bangladesh.
So billion by when? What is your time estimate?
Our estimate is around 2027, by 2027.
227. All right. So let me just, if I do simple math, we're about, let's say, 1/8 the population of India. I don't know about, whether we can do 1/8 of 100 billion or not, but, round about, 1 billion. So I was thinking that maybe we ought to be doing 5-10 billion or so.
Well, it's interesting when you say that. The $1 billion is a direct contribution from here. What we have in our sector is that there is, for every job, sustainable job that is created, there is 4 jobs that are created in the economy. All right. And for every dollar the people of this young group that gets, there is a multiplier effect of 8 to 11 times the multiplier effect in the local economy. So if we do $1 billion export work, there is almost $8 billion impact in the country.
We are a little late entrant into this arena, is why I suppose it's taking us a little longer, or what are the challenges is why it's taken us a little longer?
It is like we came in later because of the connectivity wasn't taken up by the previous administration. But now that we have, we don't only have 1 connection, we already have 2, and we're looking at 3 connections out of the country. That is going to be stability, and therefore you will see a higher level of jobs coming in, higher value jobs will be coming in. But also what we have to look at is the workforce that are coming in. Unfortunately, currently the university graduates that we are getting are not fit for purpose for our industry. What is happening is that our industries have to untrain them and then train them. It takes about 4 to 6 months to train them to be able to get productivity.
Let me interrupt right here. Would you care to elaborate on that very quickly, though? You said untrain them to train them again. What do you mean by that?
Well, the university graduates that they're coming out, they're very, very academic component. You know, they have very little presentation skills. They're not very confident. The other thing is that while they're studying, you know, from the school to college to university, none of them have ever taken a part-time jobs anywhere, so they have no idea what the job market is.
Understood.
So this is a very big shock when they come out of the university. Oh, I have to work. And I will not blame the students. I think parents have a big role to play. What I usually call is that from mother's cradle to wife's cradle, you know, they have very little understanding of the work and how they can get earning, and it's a shock for them.
In your industry, what are wages like? Can you paint a picture for us?
Okay, so wages, you know, as they start, when they're in the university right now, 45% of our employees are part-time, and these are people who are studying in the university and they come and do part-time jobs. So they are, if their data entry, it is between 10,000 to 12,000 taka earning. Then if they have a little bit of voice, they work on it, it goes up to 15 to 20,000. So there's some work that goes to about 30,000. So starting, I would say 20,000 to 30,000 is what it's quite a high pay after the training that we provide. And then within the 2 to 3 years, that goes up to 40 to 60,000 taka, which is quite a good return for this type of jobs.
Let me ask you now, you know, I came back from States in August 2008, and I remember back then data connectivity was so expensive. Oh my God, it was so expensive. And now, of course, that has come down, and the promise of digital Bangladesh, the election mandate of 2008, and I am so glad, and I'm sure you are too, to see that that was not an empty promise, that they're delivering on that, including our Bangabandhu satellite. So now, how is that satellite helping the whole landscape?
Currently, satellite is a bit expensive for us. So our industry only uses satellite for backup in case the terrestrial line are not working. Okay. However, you know, we have CME-V4. This is the under ocean part of it. That capacity has grown tremendously. Our biggest problem was between Cox's Bazar to Dhaka. The lines were always cut because it was underground. With the Bangladesh power grid, they have on their pylons, they have a fiber optics, and that was when we got that, that eliminated most of the outage that we used to face every day. And having a connectivity is the key to our survival, because that's our bread and butter. That's the connection to the world.
I've often wondered, this is how I look at it. I look at your internet connection, the connectivity, the bandwidth, and all. It's like a freeway. It's like a roadway. It's like the government creates roads and bridges and stuff like that, and through those roads and bridges, commerce and industry moves its wheels through that, generates income, and the government makes revenue in the form of taxes and what have you. So my question to you is, what would it be like if this were to be made free? That internet connectivity is free for everyone. And how much would it cost? I mean, I don't know if you've thought about it ever. How much would it cost? And in return, really, how much would it bring in?
First of all, the prices are going down at a geometrical progression in a way. So it's really coming down tremendously. I don't know whether free would be the right way to do it. I think it's always good to have some pricing so that people don't misuse it and not use it. Currently, we have fiber optics all over the country. The biggest challenge that we now have is the last mile between the infrastructure and coming to the last mile to our home. And it is important that what we see is that everything is Dhaka-centric, urban-centric, and our sector doesn't have to be in Dhaka. The reason we are in Dhaka, Chittagong, Rajshahi, is because that's where the universities are, that's where the family lives, and that's where all the connectivity is. If the government makes the plan to really ensure that the pricing, and the pricing is different, unfortunately. In Dhaka, we are getting a much lower price than I'm going to get in some other part of the country, because the idea is it's quite far, we have to invest a lot of money there. But that's not the case. I mean, once you allow people to have connectivity, and it's a human right, like you were mentioning, roads, you have water coming to your house, you have sewage, you have electricity coming, and broadband is a human right. I mean, everybody needs to have that connection. And I think the government is trying quite hard, and the private sector has also worked on this to bring this forward, and it's getting better and better.
Bobby, what is the price like at the government level right now?
Currently, for our sector, I mean, privately, people are getting it for about 2,000 taka or less, 1,500 to 2,000 taka per megabyte, okay? For us, we are getting a little bit of discount from the government. I feel that, the per megabyte, it should come down to around 500 taka. But the important thing is that there is also issue of how many people are connected in the same line, So we need to check that to ensure that we have the right connectivity with the quality connectivity. That is the key in that sense.
Right, absolutely. So listen, Bobby, just so that we make sure that our audience stay in sync with what we are talking about here. First off, I would say that this segment of the economy has tremendous potential. Worldwide, it's a $500 billion industry and perhaps growing. Our neighboring India has a $100 billion market share of that, whereas Bangladesh, in that context, has room to grow tremendously. So now, in order for us to grow, what are some of the policy bottlenecks that you see? What would you say government ought to do to make this space flourish?
I would say government has done quite a lot. And a couple of things that I can say, that we don't have any tax. Corporate tax is not there. Our rent, we do not have to pay VAT on our rent. We get taxed 10% cash back for any export that we do, our services. We only pay 4.5% VAT for some of the services. One of the areas that we would like government to eliminate is the VAT. The reason is that our business is cost containment. So when we outsource, we are really trying to bring down the cost. However, with the 4.5% tax, that adds the cost. I don't know what value that brings in with that. So that is there. But more importantly, I believe, is the education. That's something that probably you are discussing later, is that we need to get our children, young people to have the skills, everyday skills, whether they do part-time jobs, whether they do projects in the classes, but that doesn't start only in the university, it starts from school. Our education systems are not only Bangladesh, most of the world is about 200 years old, a system. Okay? Now we are seeing the availability of all different types of education that is helping. I've found many young people coming to me and speaking fluent English. I said, how did you do that? So I studied by myself, I looked at the internet. So education is not somebody, you have to go to school and they'll give it. Now it is democratized. Anybody can have that access to it if they have the willingness to pursue that and better themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been an exciting conversation, and I look forward to having you many more times, because I can tell that there are so many areas that you're passionate about that that you want to talk to us about. With those words, Bobby, I'd like to once again thank you so very much for joining us, and I'd like to thank our audience for joining us. I hope to catch you next time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.